Hello, I'm Kads, and welcome back to the free-to-play review. So today we're going to be discussing the new type of tournament added to the game recently, and that would be Soulstone or Soul Chase tournaments. As you might guess, you'll get points based on the quality of the souls you will get, just like a Champion Chase tournament, one of which is starting tomorrow. And yeah, taking a look here, there are pretty excellent rewards, I have to admit. So there's a Sacred Shard up for grabs, a couple of Legendary Tomes, Void Shard, Epic Tome, some gems, and some energy. Now, unfortunately, as we'll get into shortly, the rewards are very, very low, but so are the amount of points you get for getting certain types of souls. And so it's actually extremely difficult to get all the way to the top and even really to get even somewhere in the middle. So here in the info tab, they have published these rates, and so it's transparency, of course, so you'll know exactly how many points you'll get depending on what you get. However, let's look at this in a slightly different view. Here we have a lovely spreadsheet with the exact same information we just looked at. So here is that table of the points you get based on the rank and rarity of the souls you obtain, but we also added the elements of the odds as far as the rarity of the soul that you will get and the rank of the soul that you will get. So when you do all the math here and you add it all up, these are the values that you get out. So on average, for each mortal soulstone you summon, you'll get about 6.7 points. For every immortal, you get about 40 points. And for every eternal, you get about 246 points. Now, keep in mind that these are averages. So these are infinite sample size, meaning if you pull 10, if you pull 20, if you pull 30, you may or may not hit high or low relative to this number, particularly for mortal soulstones, which majority of us will have. If you pull two more immortal soulstones, which most of us won't have a ton, so you're not going to have a large sample size of immortals, you're probably not going to get 40 each time. You might just get a 20 and then a 50 or a 10 or whatever. So don't expect these values with every single soulstone that you pull. These are averaged over an infinite or large sample size. In the latter half of the table, we have it broken down by how many of each soulstone type on average you would need to pull to obtain the rewards. And so in this case, in order to get the Sacred Shard, you would have to pull 223 on average mortals. If you wanted to get the second legendary tome, both of them, you need 156. If you wanted to just get the first tome, you need 102, so on and so forth. So you can see all those values at your leisure. Obviously, it is more heavily biased towards Eternals being very, very few and Mortals being a lot. So with the numbers out of the way, you can kind of get the gist of this not being extremely worth it for majority of players. Even though these rewards are really, really nice, they're kind of just out of reach or out of scope for a lot of people unless you've been hoarding a bunch of soulstones or you buy them, of course. For myself, I personally took a day to kind of process and think about what I wanted to do for this, and I watched some other content creators, namely Nubkex and Saf from HH Gaming, just to kind of see what their take was and see what I wanted to do. On one hand, you have people that think that you should just wait until they do whatever boosted odds they have coming in the future, so it could be ×2, it could be ×3, we don't really know what those are going to be. Wait for the boosted odds, therefore you have a higher chance than what we just showed in the table to get maybe potentially epics and legendaries, and so it might just boost the points or the average points per soulstone, and then it becomes a lot better value to get these types of rewards. Or you could just have a YOLO strategy and just pull what you have and see what you get. As for myself, I don't really have a fully fledged strategy just yet, as this is the first instance of this tournament. We don't know how often these are going to be, and we don't know if these rewards are going to be consistent. However, my first thought is that perhaps we should pull our mortals, just the mortals, for the Soul Chase tournaments, because it's the least costly, the ones you'll have the most of, and their value ranges dramatically between the low tier souls and the high tier souls. And I think for the Soul Rush, assuming that's what they're going to call it, you'd get a lot more value, flat value, out of Immortals and Eternal Soul Stones, because it's going to be based on the type of stone you pull and not the soul you get out of the stone. So for now, that's going to be my preliminary strategy. For the sake of science, I'm willing to run the experiment for you guys just to see how many soul stones, how many mortal soul stones I can accrue between now and the next Soul Chase tournament. So we're going to pull a majority of my mortals right now, and then whenever the next Soul Chase tournament comes around, we'll just see how many I've accrued between now and then. And hopefully that will give us an approximation of how many soul stones you might be able to acquire between these Soul Chase tournaments. Now, for the full context of how I get all of my mortal soul stones, I do run Iron Twins every day, 6 keys. I don't buy the extra 6, I just do the default 6, but I do it daily, as well as I am able to 1 key brutal, hard, and normal on the Hydra clan boss. So I do regularly get a decent amount of soulstones every week. So with all that out of the way, let's get into the Soulstone Summons here. I guess we can talk about my wish list because we haven't looked at it for a while, but I do have Arbiter, Ramen 2 Drinks Blood, as well as Ninja for the legendaries. I do have Genbo the Dishonored, newly acquired Godseeker Neri, and Husk for the epics, and then I have Coldheart, Frozen Banshee, and Soulbond Boyar for the rares. Ideally, we are able to walk away with the first legendary tome, but that's not a guarantee. But if we do somehow get somewhat lucky and stay on the average as far as the value or average return from the Immortal Soulstones, then pulling 110, which we're going to do here, might be enough to get the 680 points. So all right, let's get into the pulls. Obviously, we are going to have to make space along the way. So 32 points. I don't really like how the number kind of pops up before you know what you get, but it kind of spoils a little bit whether or not you get something good. But nonetheless, it is what it is. Let's see, 1-star Norhorn. I think I already have that for him as a rare. A bunch of rares that I'm not going to use. I don't even have Infernal Baroness. 1-star Versolf. I don't think he is awakened. So that is 1-star for him, although he's just a secret room champion, so it's not too exciting. 33, basically the same. I think if I was getting the average rate for Mortal Soulstones per 10 pop, it would be around 60. So we're definitely on the lower side of that. 3-star Tolf, the memed, definitely not going to use that. I think I already have a 1-star for Suwai. A bunch of rare ones I won't use, and I do not use Umatogi. Okay. 24, we're definitely on the lower side. You kind of need some sort of like 5-star something to pop out, and obviously in order to get that, you need a larger sample size. So I think you're kind of somewhat guaranteed to be on the lower end of the spectrum just because of how the math works out. So we've got nothing exciting here. I have a higher tier on War Maiden. Regard is already 1-star, and I don't use Rain Beast. So let's go ahead and make some space, and I will be right back. Okay, space has been made, so let's get right back into the action here with another set of 30. So yeah, definitely looking like we're getting basically 30-ish points per 10 pop. So we're on par for about 500 points, so we're probably not going to get to that legendary tome. But again, we're doing this more for science, so I want to deplete as many mortals as I can, and then we'll restart kind of from zero and see how many we get by the time the next one comes around. A couple of 1-stars on the epics, 3-star on Quarg and the Crowned, 1-star on Soulbond. I think I have a higher one for her. Scathix I do use for Faction Wars. Ursula I kind of use for Faction Wars as well, but I think I have a higher tier on her. Zana I do not use, and Quargon I also do not use. So that's probably going to be a sell. Looks like we're following the pattern here of roughly 30-ish points per 10 pop. Legendary though, what do we got? 2-star Shiramani. I do have her, but I don't use her, so that's probably not going to be super useful. 1-star on Frozen Banshee. I think she has higher than that, but that would just be Phantom Touch. And Alaric the Hooded, I do not even have. Last set, 179. Okay, that means we got something a little bit higher tier. What's it gonna be? It's not the Dazzlerk. Is it the Legendary? 1-star on Cavalax. I do have him now. 5-star on Delver. There's the kicker there. That's useful to me at least. Yannicka, I haven't summoned her, but I do have her, but 1-star would be kind of cool. So 179. See, that's where you kind of get that wild swing of points where you can get a lot or you can get basically nothing. You can get, if you get all 1-stars, you get like 10. So it can definitely swing a bit. So you kind of need, this is what you need. You need something on the higher end to kind of balance out the low rolls. Let's keep it going with the next set of a 30 pop here. So 142 points. Spoiler alert. Okay, we got two back-to-back decently rewarding ones. So is that a legendary high soul or is it an epic high soul? Unknown. Oh, there. Okay, legendary high soul. Ooh, 4-star on Astralon. That's pretty cool. I really only use him for Faction Wars, but nonetheless, that's pretty decent. 2-star for Alsgore Crimson something. I forgot what his title is. Don't have him, and I already have a higher level for Tashada. I use her for a secret room as well. I think it's Force Defense, that secret room. So 4-star on Astralon. That's pretty neat. That's going to be used for sure. So the next set of 10 here, 68. Now we're back down to normal values, so don't expect anything crazy. A 3-star Elva Autumnborn. Okay, don't have her, but that would be spectacular. Maybe less so because I can't use Polymorph anymore after they nerf it. But not much else. 2-star Urgram. I think I have higher on him right now, or maybe I do have exactly 2 stars. I have a higher tier on Padma as well, and I do not use Berdal Fellhammer. Next up, we do have 48, so another on the low side, so we don't expect anything crazy. Thylesia, I do already have a higher level for her. White Dryad Nia, I recently 6-starred her for in preparation for Faction Wars, so I can definitely put something on her. Knight Errant, I do not use, but he does hit relatively hard. Kalin the Shrike, do not have. Trembor, do not have. And Aether, one of the most annoying champions in Faction Wars and Doom Tower with his counterattacks. Wastes so much time. Alrighty, so we have a clean sheet once again, and we have the last 30 Mortal Soulstones. Again, we're getting all the way down to 0, so we can start an accurate count from here on until the next tournament. So the next set is going to be 84 points. Not bad. That's above the average, so that's pretty decent. Ooh, we hit the wish list. A 2-star on the Arbiter. I'll definitely take that. I think she's at 1 star right now. So a little bit stronger for what's it called? Commanding? No, something presence? Intimidating presence. I think that just gives her stats, so that might be pretty useful for me. Gergo, do not have, and a 5-star Hell Freak. Unfortunately, 5-star rare is not as much as you might think it is, so unfortunate there. That's definitely going to be sold. 2-star Painkeeper, some people might find that useful. 2-star Judge, building him for Secret Runes, so that might help. A little bit of Phantom Touch power. The next set of 10 is going to be 65. That is basically bang on average, 6.7 times 10, a little bit less. A 5-star rare again, Wyvern Bane. None of those are going to be kept. I think I have Awakening on Renegade already. 1-star Candy. Yuck, we hate candy. Tiger Soul, 4-star. Nope. And Darendil. Heard he hits hard, but definitely don't even have him. But I probably wouldn't use him anyways. So last set of 10 here is going to be 34. We are back to the beginning where we get the low rates of absolute dogness here. So 2-star on Spider, do not have him. Never pulled him before. I don't even know how to say that name. Ilisina? Let's go with that. I couldn't even tell you what she does. I don't even have her Fleshmonger. It's a rare. Fearmonger, one of the worst epics in the game, for sure. But not going to use him. Ironclad, that might be an upgrade. Berserker, that might be an upgrade. So I'll take a look. But yeah, as you'd expect, 34 points, you're not going to get a ton. So that's going to be it for the Soulstone Summons. We are now back to 0, and we can start conducting our science experiment. But before we get too far, let's take a look at the Soul Chase tournament and see how far we managed to get. Looks like, hey, we got far enough for the first legendary tome, which was the goal. And yeah, depending on how often these are, maybe if it's a month out, maybe we might be able to get to a place near here again. But if it's every 2 weeks like the shards, then we're definitely not going to be able to do this again unless you get extremely lucky. So doing the math here, we pulled 120 mortals, and so the average return on that would have been 804 points. So we're slightly below average, but it looks like we're pretty close. I mean, within 20 of the average with a relatively small sample size of 120. So I think this highlights the aspect of, again, you kind of need a lot more mortal soulstones or any soulstones to get to converge closer to the average. Because if we just pulled like 30 or 40, like my shard or my stone started there with like the 30 pops and the 40 pops, then we wouldn't have gotten anywhere. But those couple that were over 100 kind of balanced it out, and then that allows us to get where we get here. So let's claim all of these. I will definitely take all of that stuff. Good stuff. And yeah, we'll call it there as far as the Soul Chase tournament. So in conclusion, what are my thoughts on the Soul Chase tournaments overall? I would say it's somewhat inconclusive, and I need more information. I need more data. So we don't know how often these are. We don't know if they're always going to offer legendary tomes and sacred shards every time. We're missing a lot of information that we kind of need to know. We don't know when the boosted rates are going to be here. Is it going to be 2 years away? Is it the next patch? We don't know. So there's a lot of variables going into this that we just don't know yet. And so again, I'm willing to run the experiment just to see how many shards or how many mortal soulstones I can accrue between now and the next one. And my hunch is that you probably want to save your immortals and eternals for the soul rush versus spending them on the soul chases. So in the comment section down below, do let me know what you guys plan to do relative to these soul chase tournaments and soul rush events. Let me know, did you pull for this one or did you skip it? And if you did pull, let me know if you got anything cool. As always, if you found this video helpful, then be sure to hit that like button down below. And if you enjoyed the video, then be sure to subscribe to the channel because there'll be more content just like this one in the future. Thanks for watching and have a good one.